First contact protocols. The alert echoed through the crystalline corridors of Monitoring Station 7, its urgent tone jolting Commander Vix from her meditation cycle. Her iridescent scales shifted from peaceful blue to alert orange as she glided to the central command sphere. Report, she commanded, multiple eyes focusing on the holographic display before her. Unknown vessel detected at the edge of Protectorate space, her sensor officer replied, tendrils dancing across the control interface. Configuration matches nothing in our database. It's different. The vessel that appeared on their screens defied conventional design philosophy. While Protectorate ships favored organic curves and crystalline structures, this craft was angular, almost predatory in appearance. Dark plates of unknown material absorbed their scanning beams instead of reflecting them. They're not responding to standard greeting protocols, the communications officer noted, anxiety causing their luminescent spots to pulse rapidly. Vix studied the readouts with growing concern. The vessel's power signature was barely detectable, yet their sensors indicated massive energy reserves. Either their technology was incredibly efficient, or they possessed shielding capabilities far beyond anything the Protectorate had encountered. Initiate contact protocols, Vix ordered, her voice steady despite her unease. Send the standard greeting package. But before they could transmit, the alien vessel acted first. A message arrived in perfect Protectorate standard language, its clarity suggesting an impossible level of technological sophistication. Greetings, Monitoring Station 7. This is Captain Sarah Chen of the Earth vessel Horizon. We come seeking peaceful diplomatic contact. The command sphere fell silent. No species had ever responded in their language without years of cultural exchange. More disturbing was the casual mention of their station's designation, information that should have been impossible to obtain. Their weapons systems, the tactical officer reported. We think they're weapons. The energy signatures are unlike anything we've seen, but they're powered down. Vix's scales shifted to a thoughtful purple. Open a direct channel. When the connection established, she spoke with careful formality. Captain Chen, your arrival is unexpected. Our protocols require visiting vessels to submit to a full scan and power down all defensive systems. The human captain's response was polite but firm. Commander Vix, we respect your protocols. However, we maintain minimal defensive capabilities in all unknown situations. Perhaps we could establish a neutral meeting point to discuss terms. Vix's secondary hearts fluttered. The human had used her name, another piece of information they couldn't possibly know. She gestured to her tactical officer to run a deeper scan, only to watch in amazement as the horizon shifted position slightly, presenting an aspect that made detailed scanning impossible while maintaining a non-threatening posture. Your vessel's capabilities are impressive, Vix admitted, but surely you understand our caution. We've never encountered a species with your level of technology who wasn't already known to us. We understand completely, Captain Chen replied, and Vix could hear the smile in her voice. Humanity has learned to be cautious as well, but we've also learned that the best way to build trust is through openness. Would you be interested in a small demonstration? Before Vix could respond, her tactical officer's tendrils went rigid. Commander, they're launching something. But instead of a weapon, a small probe emerged from the horizon. It moved with impossible grace, creating a holographic display visible to the station. Within it appeared images of Earth, a world that by all rights should have been too hostile for intelligent life to evolve. The probe showed cities beneath raging storms, vessels diving into crushing ocean depths, and humans walking on the surface of their moon with technology that seemed primitive by current standards. We come from what you would call a death world, Captain Chen explained. It taught us to be strong, to build robust defenses, and to always be prepared. But it also taught us the value of cooperation, of reaching out to others despite our fears. We're not here to threaten, Commander Vix. We're here to share what we've learned. The images shifted to show human ships rescuing vessels in distress, defending colonies from natural disasters, and turning military technology toward peaceful purposes. Each display demonstrated a level of technological achievement that shouldn't have been possible for such a young species. Vix found herself transfixed. Everything about these humans defied conventional wisdom. Their technology was advanced, yet they approached with open hands. They possessed overwhelming defensive capabilities, yet spoke of peace. They had mastered space travel from a world that should have killed them in their infancy. Perhaps, Vix said finally, her scales settling into a diplomatic green, we could begin with an exchange of cultural information. Though I must warn you, our council will have many questions about your capabilities. We look forward to answering them, Captain Chen responded. And we have many questions of our own. After all, Commander, the galaxy is vast and often dangerous. Wouldn't it be better to face those dangers with trusted friends at your side? As Vix ordered preparations for formal diplomatic contact, she reflected on the strange twist of fate that had brought these humans to their doorstep. They were unlike anything the Protectorate had encountered, but perhaps that was exactly what they needed. The demonstration. 3 days after first contact, the Protectorate High Council convened an emergency session. The circular chamber hummed with nervous energy as representatives from 17 worlds debated the human presence in their space. High Counselor Zira, her crystalline form catching the light, raised her appendages for silence. The humans have refused our standard integration protocols. Their vessel maintains active defenses despite our requests. Some view this as a sign of hostile intent. Commander Vix stood before the council, her scales a steady diplomatic green. With respect, High Counselor, I believe we're misinterpreting their actions. The humans have been transparent about their capabilities. Exactly the problem, interrupted Counselor Marn, his war scales bristling. Their technology exceeds our own in several areas, yet they claim to come from a primitive death world. It makes no sense. The chamber doors opened, admitting Captain Chen and her first officer, Commander David Rivera. They walked with the peculiar grace of beings evolved under high gravity, their movements precise and controlled. Perhaps, Shen offered, we could address your concerns directly. The council chamber's environmental shields automatically adjusted to Earth normal gravity around the humans, a courtesy that didn't go unnoticed. Chen smiled, understanding the gesture of trust. You see us as a potential threat, she continued, because we maintain defensive capabilities. But consider, if we meant you harm, would we be standing here? Our scans detected 23 weapons installations in this chamber alone, yet we came unarmed. Marn's scales flickered with surprise. None had told the humans about the chamber's defenses. Your species, Zera observed, sees much that we prefer to keep hidden. Survival on Earth required developing acute awareness, Rivera explained. Our world taught us to always be prepared, but preparation isn't the same as aggression. A holographic display activated, showing the horizon in orbit. As the council watched, 3 Protectorate warships approached, their weapons charged, a test Chen had been warned about. Instead of raising shields, the horizon released dozens of small drones. They moved with impossible speed, surrounding each warship. Before anyone could react, the drones created a complex energy field. Your ships are now enclosed in a protective bubble, Chen explained calmly. The field would deflect any accidental weapons discharge, protecting both your crews and our vessel. This is how humans prefer to handle potential threats, by preventing harm rather than causing it. The council chamber erupted in shocked whispers. The drones had bypassed their most advanced shielding as if it didn't exist, yet had done so without causing any damage or interference. Impressive, Zera admitted, but it doesn't explain why you refuse to power down your defenses. Rivera stepped forward, his expression serious. Let me tell you about Earth's oceans. They're vast, beautiful, and incredibly dangerous. Our early sailors learned to respect that danger, to always maintain their vessels, to keep watch even in calm seas. Space is our new ocean. We will not leave ourselves vulnerable, but neither will we threaten those who wish to sail it with us. You speak of peace, Marn challenged, yet demonstrate military superiority. No, Chen corrected gently. We demonstrate responsibility. Power without restraint is worthless. Strength without wisdom is dangerous. We maintain our defenses precisely because we don't want to use them. As if to emphasize her point, the drones disengage, returning to the horizon without leaving a trace of their presence on the Protectorate ship's sensors. Children of Steel. The Protectorate's central research facility buzzed with activity as scientists from various species gathered around holographic displays showing data from Earth. Dr. Kelvin, the facility's lead xenobiologist, stood mesmerized before the largest display. Impossible, she whispered, her crystalline form refracting light in patterns of disbelief. No species could evolve under these conditions. Commander Rivera stood nearby, watching with quiet amusement as the alien scientists tried to process what they were seeing. Earth has tried to kill us so many times we've lost count. But each time, we adapted. The displays showed scenes that defy the aliens' understanding of survivable conditions. Humans living in frozen wastelands, thriving in scorching deserts, building cities in zones of frequent tectonic activity. One screen showed historical footage of early deep-sea exploration, of humans willingly descending into crushing pressures that would destroy most Protectorate vessels. Your gravity alone should have prevented advanced civilization, Dr. Kelvin noted, her voice filled with wonder. Yet you turned it to your advantage. Your bones and muscles evolved to be incredibly dense and strong. It's why you move so efficiently in our standard gravity. We're a product of our environment, Rivera explained. Earth taught us that survival isn't about being the strongest or the most aggressive. It's about adaptation, about finding new solutions to problems. The facility's main screen shifted to display human history, a rapid progression from stone tools to spaceflight that seemed impossibly fast to the watching aliens. They saw humans face catastrophes that would have ended most civilizations, yet somehow emerged stronger each time. Look at this, one researcher called out, their tendrils waving excitedly. Their first powered flight to their first moon landing. Less than 70 years. That's unprecedented, Dr. Kelvin finished. Your species' rate of technological advancement defies all known development models. Captain Chin, who had joined them, smiled. Necessity drove our innovation. When your world constantly presents you with new challenges, you learn to adapt quickly or you don't survive. The displays showed more recent history. The development of fusion power, the first Mars colonies, the breakthrough in gravitational field manipulation that made modern space travel possible. But what caught the aliens' attention wasn't just the technology. It was how humans used it. Your ships, Dr. Kelvin observed, they're not just warships or research vessels. Each one is designed to serve multiple functions. Because space is unpredictable, Chen explained. A warship might need to become a rescue vessel. A research ship might need to defend itself. We learned from Earth that the key to survival is being prepared for anything. A new set of data appeared, showing the internal structure of the horizon. The aliens gasped collectively as they realized what they were seeing. The ship's defensive systems weren't just shields and weapons. They were an interconnected network that could redirect energy for multiple purposes. That's why you won't power down your defenses, Dr. Kelvin realized suddenly. They're not just weapons. They're everything. Life support, navigation, emergency response. Rivera nodded. Our defensive systems can become medical equipment in an emergency. Our shields can be modified to contain stellar radiation or protect other ships. Everything we build has multiple purposes because that's what Earth taught us. Be adaptable, be prepared, be ready to help others. The facility's AI suddenly announced an incoming priority message. The main screen switched to show a massive stellar phenomenon at the edge of Protectorate space, exactly where the humans had predicted. That, Chen said quietly, is why we maintain our defenses. Not because we expect conflict, but because space, like Earth, is beautiful and dangerous in equal measure. And sometimes, being ready for the worst means you're able to help others when they need it most. Dr. Kelvin's crystalline form pulsed with understanding. You're not warriors who learn to be peaceful. You're survivors who learn to protect. Exactly, Rivera confirmed. Earth shaped us, challenged us, nearly killed us countless times, but it also taught us the most important lesson of all. The strongest species isn't the one that conquers. It's the one that helps others survive. The test of trust. The attack came without warning. 5 Protectorate warships, their identification markers scrambled, dropped out of hyperspace around the human diplomatic vessel Aurora. Their weapons were already charged, their intentions clear. In the Aurora's command center, Captain Lin Wei watched the approaching ships with an expression of resigned disappointment. Tactical analysis. Rogue elements of the Protectorate fleet, Captain, his AI reported. Their energy signatures match ships that went missing from the 7th Defense Squadron last week. They're using modified weapons, designed to penetrate standard shields. The rogue ships transmitted their message on all frequencies. Humans, you have deceived the Protectorate long enough. Prove your peaceful intentions, power down your defenses, and prepare to be boarded. On the Protectorate Central Station, Commander Vix watched in horror as the scene unfolded. Scramble our response fleet. We must stop them before. Belay that order. High Counselor Zira interrupted, her crystalline form pulsing with intense light. We need to see how the humans respond to genuine threat. The Aurora remained motionless as the hostile ships moved surrounded. Captain Wei's voice, when he responded to the rogues, carried no trace of anger or fear. Attention, unauthorized vessels. We understand you're acting without official sanction. Power down your weapons. This is your only warning. The response came in the form of concentrated energy beams from all 5 ships, powerful enough to crack a small moon. The Aurora's shields didn't just absorb the attack. They caught the energy, held it, and transformed it. Fascinating, the ship's AI commented. They modified their weapons to bypass standard defenses. Rather innovative, actually. Should I add their designs to our database? Wei allowed himself a small smile. Defensive pattern echo, please. Disable only. No casualties. What happened next left every watching Protectorate officer speechless. The Aurora released a series of microscopic drones, each one targeting a specific system on the attacking ships. They moved faster than Protectorate sensors could track, phasing through shields as if they weren't there. One by one, the rogue ships went dark. Not destroyed. Their life support and basic systems remained functional, but their weapons, engines, and communications were perfectly neutralized. Status report, Wei requested calmly. All hostile ships disabled, the AI confirmed. No casualties. Their crews are safe, though I imagine they're rather confused right now. Should I prepare our medical teams? Their diagnostic scans indicate elevated stress levels. We nodded. Send over emergency supplies and medical support, and open a channel to the Protectorate station. On the station, Vix and Zira watched in amazement as the human ship began providing emergency power to the disabled vessels, ensuring their crews remained safe and comfortable. They could have destroyed them all, Vix whispered. Their weapons. Those weren't even weapons, were they? No, Zira replied, her voice filled with understanding. They were tools. The humans turned an attack into a rescue operation. The Aurora's transmission came through clear and professional. Protectorate Command, we have disabled 5 ships that attacked without provocation. Their crews are unharmed and receiving medical attention. We request assistance in evacuating them to proper medical facilities. Also, we've detected some interesting modifications to their weapon systems. Your engineers might want to look into how they achieve those power levels. Could be useful for civilian applications. In the days that followed, interrogation of the rogue crews revealed their plan. They had expected, wanted, the humans to respond with overwhelming force, to prove they were as dangerous as suspected. Instead, they had proven something else entirely. Why? One of the captured officers asked during questioning. "Why didn't you destroy us? You had every right." Captain Wei's response was recorded and would later become part of the Protectorate's basic training. Because true strength isn't about destroying your enemies. It's about being powerful enough to help them, even when they try to harm you. Earth taught us that the hard way. Guardians of the Stars. 1 year after the failed attack, the Protectorate's space looked very different. The massive stellar phenomenon that humans had detected was now visible to all. A cascade of gravitational waves that could have devastated dozens of systems. But where there should have been panic, there was purpose. The Protectorate's Grand Assembly Hall had never seen such a gathering. Representatives from every member species stood alongside human delegates, watching as the first graduating class of the Joint Space Protection Force took their oaths. High Counselor Zera's crystalline form glowed with pride as she addressed the assembly. "A year ago, we feared the humans. We saw their power and assumed they must be conquerors. Today, we understand that true strength comes in many forms." The graduates on the floor represented every Protectorate species, each wearing the new joint service uniform that combined human and Protectorate designs. Their ships waited in orbit, each one modified with human defensive technology that had been adapted to work with Protectorate systems. Captain Wei, now serving as training director, stood at the podium. "When we first arrived in Protectorate space, we were met with understandable fear. Our ships were too powerful, our defenses too advanced. But what you saw as weapons, we saw as tools. What you feared as strength, we understood as responsibility." The main display showed a live feed from the edge of Protectorate space, where human and alien ships worked together to establish a gravitational shield network. The technology that had once allowed human vessels to survive Earth's harshest conditions was now being used to protect entire star systems. "Look at their formation," Commander Vix pointed out to a group of young officers. "See how the ships move. That's not just synchronized flying. They're actually strengthening each other's shield fields. Humans call it the stronger together principle." The display shifted to show footage from recent joint missions. A human ship using its advanced sensors to guide a Protectorate rescue vessel through an ion storm. Protectorate engineers applying their crystalline technology to enhance human medical equipment. Each success story showed how the two civilizations had learned to combine their strengths. "The greatest test of any species," White continued, "isn't how well they fight. It's how well they protect. Earth taught us that lesson through countless natural disasters. Space is teaching us the same thing on a larger scale." In orbit, the graduating class's ships began their demonstration. Instead of showing weapon power or combat maneuvers, they demonstrated something far more impressive: the ability to turn any threat into an opportunity for protection. When simulated hostile fire was launched, the ships didn't just block it. They captured the energy and redirected it to power shield networks protecting civilian vessels. When debris threatened a station, they didn't destroy it. They converted it into raw material for emergency repairs. This, Dr. Kelvin explained to a group of wide-eyed researchers, is why human ships never power down their defensive systems. They're not weapon platforms. They're survival systems. Everything they build has multiple purposes, multiple ways to protect and preserve life. The ceremony reached its peak as the graduates demonstrated their final test. A complex rescue operation in which ships working together could evacuate an entire space station in minutes, their combined shield networks creating safe corridors through even the most hostile conditions. "We came from a world that tried to kill us every day," White concluded. "It taught us to be strong, to be ready for anything. But more importantly, it taught us that the greatest strength lies not in standing alone, but in helping others stand with you." As the ceremony ended, alerts came in from the gravitational shield network. The wave front was approaching, its power even greater than predicted. But where once there would have been fear, now there was confidence. Human and Protectorate ships moved into position together, their combined technology creating a defense greater than either civilization could have managed alone. High Counselor Zera turned to Captain Wei. "When you first arrived, we thought you might be our greatest threat. Instead, you became our greatest teachers. We smiled, watching as the graduated ships formed up around the shield network. That's the funny thing about strength. The more you share it, the stronger everyone becomes. In the vastness of space, the gravitational wave met the combined shield network. The forces involved could have shattered worlds, but the shields held. Human ingenuity and protectorate wisdom had combined to create something new. A force dedicated not to war or conquest, but to protection and preservation. The warning that had once caused fear, caution, human warship approaching, had become a message of hope. Now, when human ships appeared on protectorate sensors, the automatic response was different. Welcome, friends. Thank you for watching the stars with us.